Hey, what up, fam? Welcome back to part 2. Oh yeah, we in here just vibing, You coming? Hey man, don't slam my motherfucking door. Come on. I brought a couple people with me today. And I also brought Chase, my translator. The Mongols weren't just some fucking dudes on horseback, man. They were a plague on humanity. A reckoning, if you will. But let's be honest. They were not unique. They were just louder. And documented by their enemies. I don't know about you, but my enemies ain't gonna give me a 5-star review. This story never fucking ends. We're gonna take a trip through centuries of human suffering. We're gonna go on a little G-ride through history. From Merv to Belk, from Nanjing to My Lai. I hope you have a strong stomach, because people never fail at being absolutely evil and fucked up to other people. The Mongols? Man, they were the fuck it all approach. Imagine you've been hearing about this city you always wanted to go to. Like, Vegas. Or Dubai. And then when you finally get there, it's a fucking ghost town. You walk through a city so rich, so powerful, but empty. A center of learning, culture, wealth. And then the fucking Mongols showed up. They didn't just win battles. They fucking ended cities. They rolled in, took one look around and said, "Nah, fam, there's way too many people here." Then they killed everyone. In Merv, over 1 million people were gone. That would be like the entire population of San Francisco wiped out in a week. Baghdad? The Mongols destroyed so many books from the House of Wisdom that the Tigris River ran black with ink and red with blood. And in Samarkand, they flipped the off switch on an entire civilization. And if you think this shit is ancient history, you need to pump your brakes, player. The Mongols may have been the first, but they weren't the last. If we fast forward to 1937, the Japanese army marches into Nanjing. And if you think the Mongols were bad, buckle up. Because Imperial Japan didn't just kill people. They fucking played with them first. And I'm gonna give you a content warning. Pretty gruesome, pretty graphic. I recorded it one time, edited it one time, because I could not hear it more than once. So, a word of caution. Here's Yi Hulan.
我假扮男孩，在不同的难民营寻求庇护，因而躲过了日军的入侵。我虽然死里逃生，但多年来遭受日寇的残酷迫害，身体一直饱受剧痛。
I survived from the invasion of Japanese troops by pretending to be a boy, seeking asylum from different refugee camps. Although I escaped from death, I've suffered from severe pains all these years due to the brutal assault by Japanese invaders. Japanese troops occupied eastern China's Nanjing on December 13, 1937, and began a 6-week massacre. Chinese records show more than 300,000 people were brutally murdered and thousands of women raped.
Tens of thousands of women, children, grandmothers, even pregnant mothers were raped and murdered. Families were forced to commit incest before being executed. Entire neighborhoods were liquidated. The world? Well, they looked the other fucking way. Thanks to good old-fashioned racism. This isn't just about Nanjing. If you jump forward 30 years, you have My Lai, Vietnam. Pham Thi Thuan has a story to tell. She was a survivor. Her happy little village was shattered. Everyone she knew and grew up with.
Họ đầu tiên giết người ở các cánh đồng lúa, cũng như gia súc. Bà Thuận, một nông dân trồng lúa 80 tuổi ở làng Sơn Mỹ cho biết. Chúng tôi chỉ làm việc cho chính mình, bà nói. Chỉ có một số ít vũ khí bị tịch thu và thương vong duy nhất của người.
They first killed the people at the rice paddies, as well as the cattle. We just worked for ourselves. We waited for hours for the Americans to go away. Only a handful of weapons were captured, and the only American casualty that day was a soldier who deliberately shot himself in the foot.
Hundreds of unarmed civilians, the elderly, women, and children, were gunned down by U.S. troops. Only one soldier was ever convicted. Jump forward about 28 years, Srebrenica, Bosnia. Vahid Sujic was a survivor.
Kako bi spasili svoje živote, grupa od 250 bošnjačkih civila iz Voljavice odlučila je na cjelodnevni pješačenje kroz šumu do Srebrenice. Tokom njihovog pješačenja, srpske snage su 2 puta napravile zasjedu grupi iz mitraljeza. Na svakom mitraljeskom gnijezdu bilo je 30 do 50 strijelaca, kazao je
To save their lives, a group of 250 Bosniak civilians from Voljavica decided to make the day-long trek through the woods to Srebrenica. During their trek, Serb forces twice ambushed the group with machine gun fire. At each machine gun nest, there were some 30 to 50 shooters, Soljic said. Some 60 to 70 Bosniaks were killed in the ambushes. My family, including my 10-year-old sister, survived by throwing themselves into a nearby creek and waiting until nightfall before continuing for Srebrenica.
8,000 men and boys were systematically executed. They're still finding graves today. This next one's probably the most chilling. Mahmudiyah, Iraq, 2006. Here's Abu Firas al-Janabi. Warning, this shit is rough. When the wolves get bored, the sheep are the prey.
لم أتخيل يوما مشهدا مروعا كهذا. في ذلك اليوم من شهر مارس آذار، حين قتلت ابنة عمي فخرية طه محسن وزوجها قاسم حمزة بشير وابنتهما، وأحرق منزلهم الريفي. كانت جثة قاسم في زاوية الغرفة وقد تهشم رأسه أربا. كانت ابنتها
Never in my mind could I have imagined such a gruesome sight that day in March when my cousin, Fakhriya Taha Musan, her husband, Qasim Hamza Rashid, and their 2 daughters were slain and their farmhouse set ablaze. Qasim's corpse was in the corner of the room and his head was smashed into pieces. The 5-year-old daughter, Haidal, was beside her father, and I could see that Fakhriya's arms had been broken. In another room, I found 15-year-old Abir, naked and burned, with her head smashed in by a concrete block or a piece of iron.
Abir Qasim al-Janabi was raped and murdered by US soldiers, along with her 6-year-old sister and her parents. The perpetrators tried to cover it up by burning her body. It's the same story, over and over. The flags may change, the uniforms might change, but the horror and human suffering, that fucking stays the same. If you think Nanjing, My Lai, Srebrenica, or Mahmudiyah were just isolated incidents, nah, it wasn't. It was just the latest verse in a goddamn song that's been playing since the 1200s. Because after the Mongols erased Merv and made Baghdad bleed ink, they didn't stop. They perfected mass terror like it was a fucking art form. You know what they did next? They went west, into the Caucasus and Eastern Europe, burning entire cities and boiling prisoners alive. All just to send a message. Submit or disappear. They reached Khwarazm. You've probably never heard of it because the Mongols destroyed it. Here, a single insult. A merchant caravan killed by a paranoid Shah unleashed Genghis Khan's fury. He didn't just retaliate. He systematically exterminated entire cities, leaving behind pyramids of skulls. And this was just to let the survivors know what happened when you fucked with the Mongols. In Nishapur, after his favorite son-in-law was killed, Genghis ordered every single person in the city executed. Some estimates say from 100 to 300,000 people slaughtered. Men, women, children, babies. And it was efficient as fuck. It was policy. The Mongols didn't just conquer. They fucking broke you. Psychologically, economically, culturally. They'd leave one survivor alive sometimes, just to tell the next city what was coming. And half the time, that was enough. That's what makes the comparisons to today so haunting. The same playbook, just modernized. Rape as a weapon. Fire as a cleanser. Civilian life treated like debris. A culture smashed so thoroughly that centuries later, we are still digging up the trauma. And then when the Mongols reached Eastern Europe, they tore into Poland and Hungary like thunder. The Battle of Liegnitz in 1241, the Mongols tricked the Polish knights. They encircled them with smoke signals, then butchered them to the last man. Not for land, not for gold, but because fear is a weapon you can carry across continents. They didn't just destroy kingdoms, they fucking erased worlds. And we have perfected the recipe. Hey, thanks for listening to part 2. Stay tuned for part 3.
I'll stay here till it goes. You with your light can't let your shadows go. sound, we will be one. Now we're higher in the sky, where the stars and dreams collide.